Hello and welcome to episode 1 of 2026 of the Weekly Dose.
Happy New Year.
Mhm. Yes, it is the 5th of March. We are not ignorant of that fact, but we also do this podcast to suit us and nobody
Yeah.
else. So I am Grania Flanagan of I Am Healing, and you are.
I'm Antoinette from Antoinette McQueenie Homeopathy.
And we are delighted to be talking about our next venture together because we've just sent out an email. So it's actually the homeopathic, what are we calling it? Just
Launchpad.
the launch,
Launchpad.
the launch pad. So what is that? Antoinette, what are we doing?
We are going to do a 12-week postgrad course. And I think we spoke about this before on one of the podcasts. So it's ready to go now. It's ready to go. And this is something I had kind of been thinking of doing myself last year. And then when we got talking, you had so many more other ideas and coming at it from a different angle. Um,
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, well, let's just combine, let's push it out for a while, combine all our resources, and that's what we've done. So we have pushed it out to the 17th of April,
Correct. And
which is a new
I
moon.
mean, it's a new moon. It's a big new moon, by the way. If Antoinette and I are baby astrologers. We can't even really call ourselves that, but we are studying it at the minute with the fabulous Liz Norman. And the 17th of April is a big, big energy day. So we thought, let's launch on that day. But the other thing is, as you said, it's a 12-week course. If you haven't gotten your practice off the ground or are wondering how to get your practice off the ground, a 2-day course ain't going to do it.
No, 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 no. That's
So,
that's that's silly. You need support. You need your crew around you. We're going to help you build your crew so you have your very own cheerleaders. You need somebody who's going to help you set goals, hold you accountable, and teach all the back end stuff like, doing your accounts and what you can claim for and how to do your social media. And we've put a lot into this, and that's why it's going to take 12 weeks. When we were putting this together, we realized probably there's about a 6-month course there, but that's too much for anybody to commit to.
yeah,
So we tried to condense it, and some of the things we talked about before maybe have not made the cut because we've really focused on the most important things. And I think from week one, people are going to be able to get going. They're going to be able to take
yeah.
something right from the very first call to start building their practice.
And this is why we put it out there. And I'm going to reiterate again, there is no room for lurky McLurkies down the back of the classroom going, I hope teacher doesn't ask me a question. Not that we're teachers in that sense, but we only want people who are going to be interactive. You will be called out if you're not being interactive. This is a place you're coming on here because you want to practice. Well, the only way you're going to get a practice is by doing the work that we are setting out. And that's why it's going to also take the 12 weeks. This is a chance for you to personally blossom into the homeopath you want to be. Dare I say it, that's why it's a launch pad, because we are helping you launch. Um, and we are holding space for that to happen. So I'm really, really excited. But I also think it's interesting because you and I are at different phases in our career. You're at this a bit longer than me. Antoinette, how did you become the homeopath you are today?
Okay, so we came at it very, very differently, as you said. So I qualified in 2008, and when I left college, I thought this is it. There's going to be a queue outside the door. I don't know where I got that idea, but I thought that's how it's going to be. It's going to be great. I'm going to be very, very busy. And I wasn't. And I had no idea where to start talking about homeopathy, how to start talking about it, who to talk to. I hadn't a clue, not a notion, and I fell into the trap of thinking, oh, I need to do another course now. So I did a postgrad in nutrition, maybe, which didn't help at all. I still had nobody outside the door. And it wasn't until we had a change in finances and I got absolutely desperate. I thought, I actually really have to make this work. And I started contacting, the local support groups like Leitrim Leader and people who were running, start your own business courses, things like that.
Yeah.
That's where I started. And I went from there up to working with mentors, business mentors. Some were great, some were really not good at all, and were very, very good at taking money. But none of them knew about coming from my background
Yeah.
and how it's a very sensitive area, and you can't, have you have to be careful what you're sharing online about people. We're dealing with very sensitive material, and so nobody really got what I was doing. I spent a lot of money, Grania, over the years with different mentors, learning how to promote myself, how to look a certain way on a camera, how to, what to say, but none of it was quite right. So I had to take everything that I spent all this money on and all this time on and tweak it to make it work for me. And I did. And then I ran with another homeopath, I ran a really great course um, to help other homeopaths build their businesses. That was back in 2019. So for me, it was a hard slog. I had to really get the head down and learn how to be a business person.
Yeah.
And my business built as that, as I put more energy into it and more effort into it. But there was never a queue at the door.
No. And what I'm hearing you say is, and this is the bit that people don't realize, is you had to put on more hats than just being a homeopath.
Oh
You
yeah.
had to be an accountant, a marketing person. You researched, you had to develop a business. How do you grow your business? You had to do so many other roles, which
Yeah.
you had to learn on the go.
Yeah, I knew nothing about running a business. I knew nothing about social media or pushing myself, advertising. How would I like that? That wasn't what I was focusing on for the previous 4 years. And I'm not really probably, well, I wouldn't have thought I was that way inclined. But to make it as a homeopath, we have all these beautiful skills, but if nobody knows anything about us or where we are, they're not going to be able to access those skills. We're not going to be able to help anybody. I think that happens with a lot of homeopaths. Come out with great qualifications and nothing to do with them. Because it's like,
Yeah,
what on earth do I do now? Where do
yeah,
I go?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was for me. That's how I did. So I spent years I probably spent 4 or 5 years really doing a lot of extra training, and like I said, a lot of money. I spend a lot of money to get the knowledge and the experience where I'm at now. And
yeah.
it still wasn't tailor made for me. I still had to
Yes,
do a lot of tweaks.
yeah. Wow, wow. So people are getting the benefit of all of those years by having
Yeah,
you on this.
yeah, absolutely. Because I know what works and I really know what doesn't work, and we won't be
Yeah,
going there. But I know how important it is to have ongoing support.
yeah,
So it's not
100%.
just like a 2 day course, like you said. It's not just a 12-week course. It is putting a group together that's going to keep each other going,
Yeah,
you know, as long as people want to be involved in it. What about
amazing.
you? Your start is different.
My start is different. So I graduated in 2019 from the Irish School of Homeopathy. When I started studying homeopathy, it was from a very different space to most other people in the course because homeopathy tends to attract a lot of mums. We did have males in our course, and it was actually one of the biggest classes. But I already felt, oh, I don't have the exposure of treating kids. And I
Ah,
felt
yes.
really on a back foot with that. I didn't have much acute exposure, bar my own, or maybe a little bit with my dog, or an odd time with mum. So my limit, and my friends were not really open to it. So my exposure was very low. So when we started in first year, I felt like the low person in the class. It's like, oh, I don't have, they're all talking about using this remedy and that remedy. I'm like, barely use these ones. So that was when I pushed myself to start looking at groups on Facebook and seeing who could I help out. And I got involved with a few different groups, and I was on different pages. And then I happened to see this person called Antoinette McQueenie, and One famous day, she interviewed me to help out in the group you were running with another homeopath, and I started volunteering. So I did a couple of years of not paid, no clients because I wasn't allowed to see clients, and not even paid for acutes because, again, I was a student homeopath. I wasn't earning. So that was, and I was raised in a period of time where my first job actually in IT, I worked for 6 months for free. So this kind of thinking actually sat with me. Thought, okay, I'll do my groundwork, I'll do my training. And I got such invaluable experience in those groups, how to set boundaries, given free advice, not a good idea. All and people look what remedy will treat blah, all of how to handle all of that. So that was a great foundation. And then in fourth year, I was already starting to help in another homeopath's clinic, and I got made redundant from IT. And it was exactly what you said. It was that real moment. Do I go and look for work abroad because there was very little work in Ireland? Or do I dive into homeopathy and make this my career? And I thought, this is what I'm going to do. And I had to make it work. I had bills that had to be paid. So it was real that sink or swim.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, in a lot of people, I think that is the breaking point where if you have to earn so much, and it can be 10 euros or 10 100, whatever it is, when you have to earn that, the drive becomes so much different.
Yeah.
And that was where I had to sink. I had to swim and not sink. Not sink. And that was how I graduated and went straight into working, pretty much the next day, or maybe the day after. Um, and yeah, and like that, what you said, I had to learn, how do I price myself? What do I need to earn? And I did the start your own business courses and I did all of that. And as you said, it didn't quite match the work I was doing because it was a lot more corporate ideas. And I was kind of going, oh, I don't really fit in this. But thankfully, I'd already found my tribe. I knew you and I knew other homeopaths, and I had that network already, and I also had the years of experience. So very quickly, my practice started to take off. And then here I am 7 years later, and yay, I have a full-time practice.
It is incredible. Like but it's not because you were here today in my house, and I was just looking at that in your bio, how you graduated one day and the next day you walked into your practice. It wasn't actually an overnight success. It's not something that happened without you putting in years of work. It may not have been, 10 years, but I think
Yeah,
once you started studying, you were in there. And I remember you in my group for the academy. And you were always in there giving advice, but
yeah,
also you were very good at getting people to take accountability for themselves and
yeah.
very good at explaining things. So yeah, you were kind of the baby of the group, but everybody knew the baby of the group. Baby of the group as in the one who wasn't qualified yet. Um, but I'd
Yeah.
have some of my clients come for consultations and they were like, oh yeah, I was talking to Grania last week and Grania said this and Grania said that. So you got in there and you really did the work.
And
You
listen,
really
I
did the
mean,
work.
all my breaks in the corporate world, and sometimes they were just enforced breaks, when I would, I'm going to have a look, and I would be on the groups just answering messages. They can't sack me now for saying this. But that was my because that was my joy. That was my joy point, and it made the corporate day much easier to manage. But it was that thing of if I was on a break, I had homeopathy books out, and my lunch time became homeopathy. That was what I did. I brought books to work with me, and I would sit with books and read and look at groups. It was such a joy. So, I think as well that's where it becomes easy, doesn't it? When it's your
Yeah,
joy,
yeah,
that shines.
yeah. And for both of us, it happened. The spark was it was the financial spark. It was we have to do this or else. So it would be nice if people didn't have to reach that depth of desperation before launching their homeopathic
Yeah.
practices. It would be nice to come at it from a sort of a more a gentle
Yeah. But set yourself
direction.
a target, even if it's paying for whatever it is. But set yourself a very clear target. If you're in the fortunate position that you don't have to earn a wage or pay, bills from it, I think you need to have a target to succeed. If you're just fluting around,
Yeah,
I, I
yeah.
personally don't think that's going to generate the
No,
client
but
base.
so we really want people who want to get out there, who want to find their people, and who want to help people, but also want to make a living for themselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Because we all have bills to pay, but we do want to be able to help people with this amazing medicine. But like we said earlier, if people don't know where we are or how to find us or anything about us, they're not going to be queuing up
Yeah.
outside the door.
And the one thing we got from our astrology course today was some of the things that are coming astrologically down the line. Our modality is going to be so needed in the world.
It
We were
is.
already saying that coming out of recent times, um, but more than ever, because of the potential that is in the stars and there for change, the world is literally, there's going to be a veil lifted off. We know things are going to start crumbling. Things are going to be exposed. It's already happening this year. But more than ever, people are going to have to turn to things that work and things that truly support the whole of who they are. So we need you.
Yeah,
And
we
you and
really
I
do.
come from a space of knowing there's enough for all of us out there. You and
Oh,
I collaborate
absolutely.
all the time.
Yeah,
We never are
yeah,
in competition with each other. We don't believe in
yeah,
that energy, but we do know we need more successful, enthusiastic, passionate homeopaths in the world working alongside us.
yeah, yeah.
Are you ready to join us?
I'm ready to sign up myself, Claudia. That was brilliant.
There you go. That's what you'll get every week if you come.
But we said that earlier today as well. We really want people to feel excited about homeopathy again,
Yeah,
and to feel
yeah,
hopeful and optimistic and find that spark of joy that was there in the beginning before we started college and before we started going, I can't do this. What am I going to
yeah,
do here? I can't do social media, blah blah blah. We want that excitement back.
yeah.
Um,
And it's okay
and
if
we have
there's
it.
nervousness with that. Like, it's
That's
okay.
okay.
We're going to help you pick up that nervous suitcase and feck it over your shoulder and pull forward the excitement bag, and get going. That's what
Yeah.
we're here to do and support you with that. So, um, is there anything else we want to mention on this little one?
Um, I don't think so. If this is singing to you, if it's singing your song and you haven't received an email about it and you want to get more information, get in touch, I suppose, with either of us. We
Yeah.
begin on the 17th of April. Payments will be in by the 1st of April. And like I said, it's 12 weeks. It's 12 great weeks that are going to be so packed full of information. But from week one, you're going to be getting going with
Oh yeah.
stuff and you're going to have focus and direction and homework. And it's not going to take up loads of time. Don't be worried about that because
No,
people
no,
sometimes
no.
think, oh God, this could be hours and hours. And also, you're going to want to do this because if you're here in the first place, we know that you're ready to shine your light. Um, this is going to be no bother for anybody joining up. But do get in touch if it's singing to you and if you want more information or if you want to be added to the email list. And we absolutely cannot wait to get started. And this is our first one that we're doing. This is our first post grad, and like the first of all, it's going to be really special.
And just the energies that are around at that time, it is going to be super, super special. I'm really excited for it. So I
Yeah.
think on that note, we will be coming back to the podcast just to say we were even talking about some juicy material today, and there's some big subjects we want to have a little bit of a chat about.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But also, one we did mention before, and I mentioned it in a newsletter that went out to people. We were actually very, very busy in January.
Oh,
As
shut the door.
homeopaths, to be that busy, there wasn't time to do extra stuff like
No,
podcasts. We both, I
no,
think, had our busiest January ever. And
mad.
Yeah, and that's because we've been working away in the background on this course, so we were putting the energy in. The energy was going into our
Yeah,
practices and it was coming back in the form of new
yeah.
clients.
I had my
So now
first quiet week this week, and I needed a quiet week,
I'm
by the
actually the
way.
same. This was a
It was
quieter
like,
week.
oh, thank God, I can just,
Yeah,
it was a real ambling week, and it was just, it was a welcomed, it was welcomed, and
yeah,
and that's how my practice flows. Actually, I kind of tend to be a little bit, and then nice, and they're all nice, but that's, so again, this will come up. We'll talk about all of this. You and I manifest this. Anyway, my dear, let's leave it there. Guys, you know where we are if you need us.
bye
Bye.
bye.